Shalom. Call Halayim Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors and blessings to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone GMS that have the 100% truth. Shalom and blessings to the hopeful elect, to the Akim pushing this truth and sincerity, as well as to the brethren and the few sisters, which is the Akwath, that are subscribed to this truth, that are firm believers in the Heavenly Father and His Son. And I have two videos I would like to share with you, and I do not own these videos and I'm not profiting off of these videos, but these two videos is pretty much backing up on what we have to say, because famine is approaching. Food shortages, gas shortages, supply shortages, and shortages period, because we are living in the last moments of Esau Edom's society and kingdom. All right, and shit is pretty much getting ready to hit the fan, and there's no denying it. And you need to seek the Lord while you still can, and do what you can to please Him, because it's getting ready to get bad, very, very bad. And we getting more warnings than a little bit at this moment. All right, and the Lord said He was going to send His four sword judgments: famine, pestilence, the sword, beasts of the field. That's famine, pestilence, the sword, beasts of the field. He's also sending many other things. So we getting ready to see a lot of people suffering. And I'm pretty much get straight to it. I'm not going to play these whole videos, but I'm going to play a little bit of them. This video is only 6 minutes long, but I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Food and Agriculture Organization rep in Afghanistan. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thanks for joining. Food and Agriculture Organization rep in Afghanistan. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thanks for joining us here on RT. I know we haven't got the best connection in the world. I hope you can hear me okay. As we understand, almost 23 million people in Afghanistan are forecast to face acute food insecurity and starvation this winter. That is up from 14 million just 2 months ago. Why is an already awful situation rapidly becoming so much worse?
And it's not just Afghanistan. Remember, Venezuela, Brazil, South America, Mexico, parts of Africa, the Middle East, and recently China just urged all of its citizens to stockpile up on food, medicine, and supplies for this winter. And now you have this video speaking on tens of millions of people in Afghanistan that's going to face hunger this winter. So a lot of people is going to face hunger this winter. And best believe it's going to be here in the United States as well, because food rationing, food shortages, and supply shortages is on the rise. And it's going to be difficult to get the things that you need and want, and we're all not going to be living as comfortably as we once did.
Yeah, first and foremost, the situation today in Afghanistan and looking forward is really, really alarming. It's an appalling humanitarian situation that's unfolding. At the end of last year and well into this year, Afghanistan was hit by an acute drought. And let's remember, 70% of Afghans people live in rural areas involved in agriculture. So the drought has had a massive effect already. That's why earlier on this year, we were already sounding the alarm for this, this growing humanitarian crisis. But in the last 2-3 months, what we've seen is a vortex of pressures, a vortex of crisis drivers. Most obviously, the massive, total, almost economic implosion that's occurred in the last 2 months. Also, a large amount of development assistance, not so much the humanitarian assistance, but the development assistance, which has been so important in recent years for basic public services, health, education, agriculture and the like, that's been suspended. So what we've seen is a bad drought crisis has been transformed now into a really, and really quickly as well, a really big, broad, deep, terrifying humanitarian crisis where even today we're talking about 19 million people who are, as we say, acutely food insecure. That means they're experiencing hunger on a daily basis. And as you said, we haven't seen the worst yet. The projections are that by the end of the year,
facing hunger on a daily basis, and we haven't seen the worst yet. That's coming to America. That's coming to a lot of places on the globe.
And into next year, 23 million. That's 55%. More than 1 out of every 2 Afghan men, women, and children will be in that situation. Not just in rural areas, but the big change that's occurring now is also urban areas. And we're projecting that by the end of the year, 9 out of 10 of Afghanistan's largest urban areas will be also facing acute food insecurity. And as you said, this hits children hardest. It hits every single Afghan person, but it hits children hardest.
Richard, these numbers you're telling us right now are just mind-boggling. This is an enormous catastrophe in Afghanistan right now. I wanted to ask you, why has all the aid that's been pumped into the country, as I understand it, $1 billion since the Taliban got back in control, how has that money been insufficient to deal with this crisis?
Look, firstly, and as you said, these numbers aren't just numbers. Every single number is a person. It's a child, it's a woman, it's a man. And I think when you think about the human impact that we're talking about here, it really is a devastating situation, a really alarming situation. The story's not quite as clear as you said. In September, a high-level meeting in Geneva took place. $1 billion was pledged, but of that, about 275 million has arrived in the hands of humanitarians, FAO, my own organisation, WFP, UNICEF. So not all the money that was pledged has yet to arrive. But to be quite honest, it's only going to be a drop in the ocean. The situation is deteriorating so quickly and so dramatically that the needs for ensuring that humanitarian assistance reaches those people across the country in some of the most remote areas. And let's remember, winter is fast approaching. Winter in Afghanistan means heavy snowfall, it means real problem accessing areas. The needs and the financial needs to support them are going to be massive in the coming months and into next year as well.
But as you say, the winter is looming. A lot of Afghans, they live in agricultural settings as well.
This winter finna be real as fuck. All right? It's getting ready to be a dark winter, a dark moment in human history. It's gonna be man, it's gonna be bad, and we've been warning people. And as you know, people in the world, they take these warnings lightly because, especially here in America, they think can't nothing happen to them. They think America can't shit happen to America, but a lot of people in America is getting ready to have a rude awakening.
It's hard to come by. You said there's been a drought in the season as well. It just sounds like the perfect storm, frankly, and yet the media, as I can tell, isn't quite doing this story justice. As you say, this is a dire humanitarian situation there in Afghanistan. I mean, I hate to seem insensitive and to look at the broader picture here, but what does this mean for the future generations of Afghans if it's so bad right now?
Okay, let me answer that in 2 ways. Firstly, we have to separate, I believe, as a humanitarian, we have to separate humanitarian need from politics. Secondly, what does this mean for the future? Well, firstly, let's remember, and you mentioned children at the start, children are the worst hit. A few days, a few weeks of deep hunger can lead to stunting, it can lead to wasting. These are things that affect a child's life, a whole life. You know, it can also retard all forms of physical development as well, including the brain as well. So let's remember that a few weeks now are unacceptable because the impact on those children who are caught up in this, and I'm sure many of your viewers have seen some of the harrowing images that are coming out of Afghanistan these days. Secondly, if we look at the short term, we're talking about a country in which agriculture, as I said, it's 80% of livelihoods. That's
And the U.S. just recently left Afghanistan, which had all that ruckus and all that madness going on at the one airport where people was fucking jumping on the plane and falling off the plane when the plane was high in the air. And there was a whole lot of chaos going on in Afghanistan recently as well, which the U.S. had played a big role in. But the point is, it's getting ready to get bad, and it's not just going to be Afghanistan. Places in South America is already twisted, which is why a lot of people is trying to run up in America from the islands, from South America, Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, etc. In South America, Africa, people is going through acute hunger in Africa already, and the hunger is rising. Remember, we had the locust plagues and the droughts, and it's chaos is happening all over the world. Famine is getting ready to visit this world in the very, 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 very near future.